ran this exact same project. I'm not going to show you the video just because I don't want to waste too much of our time here. But if you see right here where it says 2 created, he also ran this project. He didn't have as final and as sexy looking a prototype, but as you can see below, he ran this a year ago, and his funding was unsuccessful, almost a year ago.
What's the difference?
It's November. Nobody wants a cooler in November.
That's a good point. But take a look at the video, and I'm sure you'll be able to find several differences. And one of them, I speculate, is he probably did a much better job harnessing the power of social media the second time around.
If I can add something to that, he raised $8 million in the first week. So
Yeah.
it was a very powerful campaign. I've been watching this one. That $9.5 million, it's kind of staggered at that after the first week, but he raised the bulk of it right then. So whatever he did with social media for.
He got a lot of news press too.
Yeah.
There's been a lot in news and that's cool.
Yeah.
Can you summarize what deal he was offering that raised the $9.9 million?
I believe he summarized it where he said $180 gets you a coolest.
So you get a unit, that's not bad.
$180 and you're pre-order. I'm going to start from the beginning anyways. Just for those of us who are unfamiliar with the concept of crowdfunding, most particularly reward-based crowdfunding, and even more particularly reward-based crowdfunding through a web platform called Kickstarter. Okay, that's where my experience lies. I don't consider myself to be a top expert, especially with any of these other websites. I have very limited experience with the other ones. I have experience with Kickstarter and with Quirky. So that's really where my experience is drawn from. So just very quickly, what exactly is crowdfunding? Essentially, it is the inverse of what you are used to, which is venture funding, where rather than getting, let me just draw this because this makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so in crowdfunding, this is you. You get money from a crowd of people. A whole bunch of different people give you smaller amounts, whereas in the venture model, you get money from one person or a small group. Pretty easy to understand? Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Woo. Okay. All right, now, why is this important? In the venture model, of course, companies, whether it's angel investment or venture funding, they're either looking for returns or they're looking for equity. In the current model, Kickstarter is a reward-based crowdfunding model. So you do not buy any equity or get any sort of return guarantees when you contribute to a Kickstarter project. Do I need to repeat that?
No.
Did everybody get it? Okay. When you contribute to a project on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you are contributing with the promise of some sort of a reward, whether it be a virtual high five or a letter that says thanks a lot for the money, or future delivery of a cooler, or a CD from the first song, album that we put out because we're a band. Some sort of reward you're going to get, whether it's tangible or intangible, and you are not guaranteed to get it. So if you are going to give money to a crowdfunding venture, assume you might not ever get it back, or you might not ever get something. And we're going to go a little bit further into that because that particularly holds some an interesting story from my project. Okay, top crowdfunding websites.
Excuse me, are there any limits on that, on those two?
Sorry,
Are there any limits?
can you be more specific?
Yeah, I mean, would you go there for $100 versus $10,000?
Can you be
In
even
increments.
more
No, Kickstarter people that are contributing.
Okay. When you create a Kickstarter project, you can set up any reward system that you want. You can make it up. You make up whatever you want, and there is nobody telling you that you should do it a certain way, that you can do it a certain way. There's a little bit of guidance, and I'll go over some of that stuff in a later slide. But essentially, you create the project in its entirety, including the reward tiers. And there have been tiers all the way down to $1 and up past $10,000, depending on the project, and depending on the reward, of course. I already showed you one good story, so I'm not going to show you three. One thing that's clearly illustrated by this project, and by your point that they raised $8 million of their dollars in the first week, is kind of this lightning in a bottle viral video snowball effect that you can get out of crowdfunding. And it's sort of this circular process of raising either empathy or just awareness of this venture. And that in and of itself, raising the funding momentum. And those two things kind of work together exponentially when it comes to crowdfunding. Okay, so back to your point. You were asking about what are the limits. So the most common pledge that's made on Kickstarter is $25. The average pledge that's made on Kickstarter is $70. Does everyone understand the difference? Everybody's good? Okay. You guys can shout out, yeah, no, I don't understand.
Assume I'm dumb.
Sorry?
My wife says I'm dumb. Just assume I'm dumb.
Well, you know, I don't want to keep you guys here all night. Kickstarter says that your probability of being successful is much higher if the duration of your campaign is 30 days or less. That really is just a statistic. The coolest ran for 48, 49 days or something like that.
Yeah, they can do that.
And I mean, they blew their funding goal out of the water. So, anyway, making a video is very important. I think there's some sort of statistic on Kickstarter where projects that have a video are like 10,000 times more likely to be successful, which really I think that means that it goes from like a 1% chance of getting funded up to like a 5% chance of getting funded. So it's not 10,000%. Okay. Promote but don't spam. I'm going to go over this a little bit more in a few minutes, but just remember that. As far as Kickstarter goes, you can't, when you're talking about funding contributions, rewards, you can't offer any sort of coupons. You know, like a coupon for Domino's as well as 1 unit of your product. No donations to charity, no alcohol, tobacco, or firearms. And the last one, and probably the most important, is that between Kickstarter and Amazon Payments, because Amazon Payments is the house that processes all of the payments that are made to you at the end of the day. Between the two of them together, the average take is about 10%. So if you raise $100,000, if your project gets exactly $100,000 when it closes, you're going to get somewhere around $90,000.
But what is the percentage of pledges that are actually paid?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I can tell you that in my project, there was probably at least $1,000 that was lost. Because people have, through Amazon Payments, they have their debit card set up, or their credit card was expired, and then when Amazon went to debit the transaction, you know, they got a bounce back, and the person never put in the new credit card, or you know, their debit balance bounced.
It was $1,000 out of what?
Out of 85,300. Something like that. Yes?
Would you explain the ATF one, please?
You cannot endorse or provide any sort of alcohol, tobacco, or firearms as a reward. or in your project.
Just as or what?
Or in your project. Your project can't be for a new type of gun.
No, but
It can't be for a new type of liquor.
I have a project that's a gun lot.
Okay. I don't know. You're gonna have to ask them. I mean, it's firearm related, but one thing that I have learned about Kickstarter is, sorry?
You can write Kickstarter, I was just telling you.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned is that there's a lot of ambiguity in their rules. And just because the rules say something explicit doesn't mean that they follow it for every project. It's a bunch of young guys, so they kind of make the rules up as they go along sometimes. Yeah?
You can be turned down by Kickstarter.
Absolutely. There are a couple of things that you cannot do in the product design category. You can no longer offer multiple quantities of your product unless it's something that goes together like salt and pepper shakers or a set of plates. You know, you don't just sell one plate. Usually you'd sell 2 or 4 or 6, 8. But that doesn't mean that you can't submit a project, offer multiple quantities in your reward tier, and they won't let it go through. The coolest has reward tiers with multiple quantities, and it's running.
He had a firearm-related item.
Yes.
Now, do any of the other crowdfunding places possibly accept it?
They
Is it
might.
just Kickstarter?
They might. I have absolutely
Do they
no
all
idea.
basically kind of follow the same rules, or each and every one of them different?
Every one of them's different. Like I said before, my knowledge really is mainly Kickstarter. I know a little bit about Indiegogo, and I know some stuff about Quirky. The major difference that I'm familiar with between Kickstarter and Indiegogo is Kickstarter has an all-or-nothing approach to establishing a successfully funded project. So if you have a goal of raising $100,000 and you raise $99,999.99, your project is dead. It does not get funded. If you raise exactly $100,000 or any increment over, your project is successfully funded. Indiegogo has a couple of different categories where you can go, I believe it's called flexible funding. So if you have a funding goal of $100,000 and you only end up raising 50, if you have something justifiable in your project that says, well, with the $50,000, we can still do something. You know, we can still do something meaningful and meet, you know, our pledge promises, then I guess you can go forward that way. But I would suggest looking at the different websites. These aren't the only 10. So I would suggest look through them yourselves because there are a lot of terms and conditions that I'm not talking about. Do you have a question?
I just wanted to add, I think one of the sites, maybe it's Indiegogo, gives you money before it's voted.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, that could be true. Okay. One reason that I say start your project today when it comes to Kickstarter is because you can have a project creation interface open for as long as you want before you actually launch it. You using Kickstarter?
I've had my project open, but not published for like a month.
Okay. So you can have it open for as long as you want. You can tweak it as many times as you want. And the reason that I'm saying start it, what do I say? Start your project today. Because you can spend as much time as you want revising it. But once it's live, there are a lot of things that you can't change. Like I said before, the review process is somewhat arbitrary. So if you are dead set on launching through Kickstarter and for some reason you get turned down, you may not get a straight answer as to why you got turned down. You're just going to have to live with it and maybe try and tweak your project a little bit or just keep sending them messages. Sometimes they're prompt, sometimes they're not.
Do you have a sense for the reasons why you would get turned down?
One that I mentioned before in the product design category, one of their rules is that you can't offer multiple quantities of your product. So if you've got, you know, if you're selling sunglasses, you can't have a reward tier that allows you to provide 6 pairs of sunglasses to somebody as opposed to just 1 pair. But like I said before, I've seen projects that offer multiple quantities and they get approved. Mine did not.
So you tell me that Kickstarter has the right to review your project give you a thumbs up or down.
Yes,
Whether you go live or not.
yes.
And if you go thumbs down, they don't have to tell you why.
Well, it's a privately held company, so they don't really have to do anything that they don't want to. Now, I'm not telling you that they won't tell you why. I've heard that some people don't get any sort of rationale. I did get responses, and my responses were positive, but it always took at least 3 to 5 days to get a response to my messages. So if you're trying to get launched, you know, by May 1st, and you submit it on April 25th, and you end up with 10 questions that you want to ask them, you might not be able to launch May 1st, which is another reason why I say start your project today. Yeah?
What type of things did you tweak? Because obviously you took out the multiple fundings in the same product, but how, I mean, did you have to upgrade your video or something? How did you get the
No, I didn't have to do anything with the video. I had to take out one of the reward tiers completely because my product is low-tech electronics, and my base market, I was looking to market to college students. So I had one reward tier that had, I think it was 2 new plugs and 2 large cheese pizzas from Domino's. So I had to take that out. They wouldn't allow me to use that. Even though I spent like a month negotiating a deal with Domino's to be able to provide the reward tier.
Do they make a judgment, pass judgment on the value of the product too? I mean,
There is one thing they say when it comes to the product design categories, they don't want infomercial type products. And I mean, I don't even know where you start with that because, I mean, we made an infomercial for New Plug. It's totally, you can make any product into an infomercial sounding thing. So the only thing that I would say that I got out of that is when you make your presentation, try to focus on the fact that this is something that has design integrity and that it's not just a, if you act now, you're going to get it. Yeah.
Can you give an example or two of the things you can't edit once you're live?
Yes. Once someone has pledged for any of your, well, for a specific reward tier, if you have at least one person that has pledged in that reward tier, you cannot revise it. So if you say for $50 you're going to get one of your products, and one person has contributed to that category, to that pledge tier, you can't revise it anymore. Just about everything in the description you can revise. You can still revise the video. You can add tiers. The main one that I can remember is you just can't revise a tier once somebody's contributed to it. Yeah.
Can you shut down the project and relaunch it?
Sorry?
Can you shut down a project and relaunch it?
Can you shut down a project and relaunch it? So if you've got a project running, you've had it running for 15 of the 30 days, just to say a number, and you decide that you want to shut it down, I think so. I don't remember, it was 1.5 years ago when I ran my project, so I'm pretty sure.
If you have a successful campaign, do you have a way to go back to the people that contributed to your campaign and, let's say, sell them additional products?
I'll answer that in a few minutes, but hold that thought. Okay, I'm going through questions and I just don't want to get disorganized here. Okay. Does anyone know what shill bidding is?
Yes.
Shill bidding?
Bid yourself to drive, to make it look like there's interest.
Yeah, that's why auctioneers talk very fast. Because shill bidding used to be very popular. Everybody's facing me right now. So I would say, can we go to the bidding for 4,000? We got 4,000, you want to go for 5? And there's nobody back there that's bidding 4,000. Shill pledging is somewhat similar. When you've got people in your back pocket and 5 days into your project, you're already up to $8 million. I'm not insinuating that Coolest had people in their back pocket that were ready to put money into the project. But what you need to understand about this is having people that you know are willing to pledge for your project before you get started is important. Because nothing drives a Kickstarter project faster than being a popular Kickstarter project. Okay? Do you want me to explain that any further? You want me to go a little further?
But if someone pledges money, isn't that real? In other words, a shill pledge would be it's not a real person, but if someone pledges.
Well, the reason that I'm calling it shill pledging is for lack of a better description. It's real money that's going in there, but it's something that you set up beforehand. You know that this person is going to be pledging. And maybe you ask them, hey, listen, I know that you said that you're willing to pledge $2,000 to my campaign. I don't want you to do it yet, but if I have a slow day, can I call you and ask you to pledge on that day? Because if my project stays on the popular page, which is on the first page, everybody can see it. Kickstarter has a lot of members who are just browsing on a daily basis. And if you don't stay on that popular page revolving on there, you don't get that exposure. You can do a lot with social media, but you can also do a lot by just being on that popular page. Okay, 2 questions. Yes.
So you're saying you shouldn't have all your backers that you line up ahead of time all go at the beginning, you have them spread out?
I'm saying you might want to do either or. I'm not necessarily saying that there is only one way to do it.
But to stay on the popular page, you have to have activity every day?
Yeah, if you want to stay on the popular page, you have to have activity every day.
Okay.
You got to have a good amount of activity every day. And I didn't find out about this awesome trick until after I ran my project. But it can be very powerful. Sorry, there was another question over here. Yeah.
Is there a known profile type of people who sign on to this site looking to make pledges? What kind of people? Because I guess that's the target audience.
That's a good question, and before we ran the project, we kind of made a couple of speculations. And mine could be completely wrong. I'll share them with you. But I think one, and this is really the product design category because that's what I was focusing on. There are a lot of different categories on Kickstarter. One of them is called zombies. I mean, so there's a lot of things that you could do with it. So, I mean, I stuck to the product design category. I think a lot of people are tech savvy, minimalist, relatively young professionals to some degree. They want it now. They're particular about features or about form following function. That's kind of the person that's just perusing the site. Then, of course, you have your own sphere of influence, which you're going to be bringing onto Kickstarter. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that you know that might be willing to pledge to a project if you decided to run a crowdfunding project, but they've never even heard of Kickstarter before. Right? Or no?
Yes.
Everybody knows about it? Yeah. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Well, partly. If they're not getting equity and they're not getting return, are these basically consumers who want cool products and they want to be the first to own something? Or
That's what I think.
They want to be part of something that they contribute to? What's the driver? What motivates them?
I think it's twofold. I mean, number one, it's really sort of a grassroots way of funding somebody's project, funding a creative project, and at the same time getting some really cool gadgets. I think it's twofold. I'm not 100% sure. I believe that Kickstarter, if you do some of your own internet research, I'm sure you'll find something. We sort of really decided to, make our own sort of a target customer profile in-house and sell it to that one target customer profile. And that might not necessarily be yours, because even in the product design category, depending on what your product is that you're trying to put out, you might have a completely different target customer. So I mean, I don't want to put too fine a point on who the customer is on Kickstarter. Is that okay? Is that all right with you? I'm sorry, that's not really a full answer.
I can address it at least a little bit. I've backed a bunch of products with $1, and $1 makes you a backer, and a backer gets you updates, and those updates contain information about how the project is doing, who's backing it, what they're doing with their reward structure. There are all kinds of things that happen when you become a backer. It's the same thing as if you're a shareholder in a company. You buy one share of any publicly traded firm, you're a shareholder. And you can go to the shareholder meetings, and you can eat the food, and you can see the people, and, you know, they don't know that you only have one share and you're really a deadbeat. So, in effect, I'm doing it for fact-finding, which is completely different from the average person, but it's a powerful tool to do research, market research about what's going on in the Kickstarter world.
Did everybody hear that? Everybody was able to hear that? That was a really good point, thank you.
Did you ever publish your statistics you found?
I actually hired a data miner to data mine Kickstarter in order to be able to determine what a popular project would be in certain areas. And so we had different metrics that we used in order to be able to determine that popularity. And we did that prior to the launch.
Did you publish your statistics?
No, I keep it pretty much close to the vest because it's kind of like, I'd rather sell you my kids if I had any.
That was nice. So it says, you say start your project today. Implicit to that is, since you're talking to a group of inventors, before you start your project, you must have the IP buttoned down. Otherwise, once you start the project, it's out to the open world, and you've lost it.
Yes, that's a pretty obvious statement, but thank you for pointing it out, because one thing that you do have to recognize about Kickstarter is once your project goes live, not once you start your project, because once you start your project, it's pretty much like creating a Word document. Okay, you've created the Word document and you keep saving it, but you didn't send it out into the world yet. But when you do publish your project and your project goes live, it is now in the public domain, and if you don't have any intellectual property protection, the U.S. Patent Office will cite your project as prior art. They'll say it's in the public domain. I mean, you can't get IP on the color blue. It's in the public domain, and so is your project. So yes, you're going to want to seek protection if you have a very novel idea, and you plan on putting it on any sort of public forum. Yes.
Do you have IP protection on your new plug product?
Yes.
So you did it before?
Yes.
Could you explain what your new product is, new plug is?
My name is Michael Carpentano. I'd like to introduce my product, NewPlug. NewPlug is a very simple device. It's a surge-protected extension cord that can attach to furniture. NewPlug is more convenient and comfortable to continue using your smart device.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where.
NewPlug is designed to solve a problem that stems from the frequency at which people are now using smart devices. Many of us use smart devices for upwards of 3 hours a day, which means that in many instances we find ourselves with the need to continue using the smart device as it's charging. We're not just setting down our devices and forgetting them when we're charging. We want to continue using the device. The issue here is that most available power outlets are either blocked by a piece of furniture or are simply out of reach. NewPlug is designed to solve this problem by providing a convenient outlet location for device charging. One could clamp the device to the base of a sofa, leg of a desk, loft bed, futon, or nightstand, and then continue to comfortably use the device while it's charging. its outlets are of opposing orientation, so one could plug in large DC converters without interference. Its USB ports are also designed in such a way that they have sufficient amperage to charge devices like iPhone, iPad, and even Android devices. The textured silicone padding between the clamp surfaces keeps the device firmly in place, which prevents damage to furniture. You can relax on the couch or in bed while enjoying continued use of your device. It's great for gamers too. Wireless game controllers that require USB charging capabilities can simply be plugged into NuPlug when they need to be charged, instead of relying on plugging back into the game console. Grandma will love NuPlug too, since you won't need to reach behind her nightstand to plug in her device so she can Skype with her favorite grandson. I love you, Mima. Love you, Mike. All contributions come with an incentive, which is our way of saying thank you. When we reach our funding goal, we'll be able to begin production of the product, and we expect to start shipping in the fall. Thank you very much for your contributions, and we really appreciate your support.
Did you like it? I say the word device 14 times in the video.
I have a question about
I did.
You have invented the plugs, right? And you have the patent pendings, which expire in certain time.
No, there's a utility patent filed. You get 1 year for...
No, you have provisional patents for 1 year.
Yeah.
And during this 1 year, you have the opportunity to present to the public. Means you have to make a prototype, you make, you have to get opinion, you have to promote and prove that this device is enough that you are able to attract someone, so they give you some contribution money.
Okay, yep.
And this is like
Are you
1 year.
Suggesting that 1 year is not enough?
Yes, 1 year is absolutely not.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you because
Yes,
I'm
because
not in the patent office, but I've struggled with that too.
Yes.
I didn't do it in a year. I filed a utility patent probably about a month and a half before I launched the product.
Yes, so utility patent, you can protect your idea for another 20 years, but you have to invest at least $10,000 to get a patent, because patent pending doesn't give you right, and you are not sure that you will get a patent.
Okay.
So
if there's an
if the
answer for your
people-
question, or just to wrap it up a little bit,
No.
I'm not going to tell you that crowdfunding is the best way to get funding for some sort of a project.
Because I'm hearing about the contribution from someone. This contribution is like nothing for me. Nobody has obligation to give you money.
Yes. Okay, so do you want to talk about that point for a second?
Yes.
Because I want to just keep the ball rolling.
So just my conclusion. You building this plug on certain illusion. In my opinion, it's an illusion. Okay. Because in the real world, it's more complicated to sell than to make some idea.
Okay. All right, so let me see if I understood what you said. So what you're trying to say is that taking a project that's in the provisional stage
Yes.
presents a certain issue because you don't necessarily have the time to do effective market research and really vetting the idea and get it out there in its actual production stage before putting it out onto something like Kickstarter and really selling it? Is that sort of, can I kind of package your statement?
People invest money, contribute certain amount of money, and you will not be able to deliver.
But it doesn't,
This is the problem.
but it doesn't matter whether.
No, it's a matter, because
If he files a provisional patent, then he has the protection
No,
started.
no, it's
It
not
started.
quite like
I'm not
like
sure
you
if we
said.
have, like,
Because-
if there's just one point, or if there are 3 or 4 different points. So if you want to have a conversation with everybody here, let's try to touch on one point at a time.
Okay, so my point is, you can make a certain market research based on your patent pending, but you are not able to build a business unless there is something extraordinary. You can create the money and get a patent, maybe, because a patent issue is the next.
So do you have a question, or you just wanted to just throw that out?
No, my question is that I doubt about this idea to get contribution from the people, and this is, in my opinion, kind of illusion. You can make a
Okay, so
market
wait, are you
search.
talking about just one project, or are you talking about the crowdfunding model as a whole?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, you make a very good point. And what we're going to talk about real quick, just to touch on his point, because what he's saying is something that's very valid. Okay, what he's basically saying is a concept which is referred to as vaporware. Okay, a project that looks really awesome, coin, you swipe a credit card, you load it up, you can do anything with it, but is the probability of it actually getting into the market is very low. So your contribution, the likelihood of actually seeing something for making that contribution is low to nil. It's a very, very good point. There are a lot of people who have gotten really pissed off about projects where they've never seen any sort of product. People have just walked away with the money. Or, in my case, what's going on right now with mine is the company that I'm partnered with is, number one, we've had to do a lot of other research and re-engineering to the actual clamping mechanism. Number two, we've got a couple of different licensees that are asking for a lot more test work done to it. Number three, this licensee came to me and sort of gave me an offer that I couldn't refuse. I deviated slightly from the Kickstarter model, and that has gone really kind of against, I've betrayed my backers in one way or another, because rather than delivering my product in 4 to 6 months like I had originally promised, it's now been 1.5 years, and I still haven't delivered product. And right now, we're looking at being able to deliver by the holiday season at best, if not probably middle of February. Now, some people have taken it amongst themselves to put lots of really, really, really condescending remarks on this public forum page. There's a comments page to every single Kickstarter project. So one thing that's really important to understand is at the same time that you can really get a lot of positive reinforcement from the community, you can also get lambasted by them. I mean, I'm not going to say some of the things that I see on here, but
It's taking you too long.
you all know how to read, I'm assuming. So you can see there are, oh, here's a list of people that want refunds but haven't gotten them. 86 people.
So they're entitled to refund?
No.
That's out of 2,000.
It's 4%. 4% of people that are asking for refunds.
What did you promise them in order for them to contribute on crowdfunding?
I promised future delivery of a new plug in your choice of color, which there were 2 colors offered, black and white. And then if we reached an extra stretch goal, we had something that was called a new skin, which was kind of like a decorative faceplate that would go over the front of it. And you got to vote on your favorite colors. If we reached that stretch goal of 150,000, we'd be able to offer 3 new skins to the people who pledged for that extra reward tier. And we didn't reach that goal.
Do you have a way to communicate with them, perhaps by getting on this?
Kickstarter has an interface that allows you to manage all of your backers in their different categories of their reward tier. You can send them updates. We do, myself and the company that I'm partnered with, we have provided a lot of updates, videos of the new prototype. A lot of people have looked at the aesthetic changes that we've made to the product as just a visceral betrayal. And they just say, I hate it, it looks like a piece of crap, it's going straight into the garbage, just give me my refund, I don't want it.
What is the lesson learned here? In that you
Well,
waited
there
for
are
this-
several. But before we get to that, I'd like to continue along with the presentation and answer any other
I
questions
have one question.
thus far. There were a couple of other people
Yes.
who had their hands up
Yes.
before
Yes.
you, so if you don't mind, let me just take
Yes,
these
okay.
questions first. Up in the back.
Oh, thank you. After you realized that you needed licensing for different components, did you find that you had not raised enough money? Does that happen?
Okay.
For some extent?
What was the question, can you repeat?
The question was, after the project, did I realize that I may not have raised enough money? And I speculate that a lot of projects go under after the fact because people don't do the amount of research that it really takes, or just don't have access to real information that's needed. And they kind of just say, I think I can charge, I think I can charge $25. I'll give you the breakdown. I was offering new plug for $29. Okay? If it ended up only being 1 pound in weight, it was going to cost me $7 to ship. That's not even handling. Another $2 to ship. To handle. Okay, so that's 9, so we're down to 20. Wait, hold on, start over. I'm sorry. I totally forgot. Sorry. $29 minus Amazon and Kickstarter fees, which is 10%. So subtract $290 from that. And now you're down to, was that $26.10?
About 26.
All right. Then shipping and handling. Okay, so that's what I'm dealing with per unit. And I've got to get variable costs out of that and my fixed cost out of that.
Is there an overhead cost for ensuring liability on electrical product? You owe us
That's a good question.
Yes. I had to seek UL and ETL certification before I could, offer the product in the open market. Okay, yeah.
What was your original intention for the $85,000, and is that where the money ended up going?
The 85 was a break even. The 85 was going to get me in all the different permutations that I ran with my different reward tiers. The 85 would have been just enough money for me to be able to cover all of my fixed costs for tooling. I had an allowance for further testing. So if I went over that allowance, I would have been up the creek.
You didn't tool it.
And would have given me enough in variable and shipping, I would have been able to fulfill everything. Now, I did get lucky a little bit of the way through the process. I found a way that I can knock down that number substantially. So I would have been in good shape. And is that what happened with the money? I'll answer that in a minute because I just want to take a couple more questions and then I'll talk about the partnership that I'm in right now. Other questions up top?
Yes, it seems like a lot of the magic is in the video. So a couple of questions on that. Do you have to have that professionally made, and how much of your budget went into developing that video?
Okay. Yes, I would suggest taking the time to make as professional a presentation as you possibly can, because I think you're exactly right. A lot of the magic is in the video. That video cost me $5,000. You could probably do it for less, but I didn't.
But you did get some licensing, I assume the product carries on, that's really your incentive to make money with us.
Okay, so I think it's implicit, or I think it should be understood, unless it is explicitly stated in the project, that anybody putting a product up on Kickstarter is interested in further commercialization. They're not just interested in running this project specifically on Kickstarter and then that's it. Even though one of Kickstarter's rules is that this is not a place for kind of hawking your widgets. It's a place for projects. And that's one reason why some of my backers are so angry with me, because I got an offer that I couldn't refuse from a licensing partner. Because understanding that there's still a lot of risk in this number right here, I got a financial guarantee. I got somebody who said, was able to make a contractual obligation to saying, we're going to fulfill your Kickstarter rewards regardless of actual cost. Even if it ends up costing $150,000 and you've only got 77 after, or about 70,000 after there was an awards dinner and stuff that, it was one of the reward tiers was you get to come to a dinner and get a special gift and everything. And then after, 85 minus 10%, minus 8,500, and then minus the chargebacks, I ended up getting about 77. After other expenses, I ended up having about 70. So, there's a lot of risk there. My product is now in the public domain. So the possibility of somebody coming out with a ripoff, the possibility of one of the other pieces of intellectual property that I cited in my patent application, just trying to push me down and saying, pushing through an infringement claim, whether spurious or not, I'm bootstrapping this entire thing. So here comes a company that says, we're going to take on all of your further commercialization and all of your rewards. How can I say no?
Would they give you a lump sum or a?
I won't answer that.
It's my understanding that you really are better off getting your patent or your intellectual properties buttoned down and protected before you go on this Kickstarter program.
Yeah, so let's make that clear. If you're going to put your intellectual property in any sort of public domain, you have to have something filed unless you don't care about that thing getting stolen or having the U.S. Patent Office cite it as prior art. And to sort of answer your question, this sort of goes for anybody and everybody that really, if you're really interested in making a career out of this, I would suggest, and I'm a young guy, so probably a lot of you might roll your eyes at this, but the returns shouldn't necessarily be sought up front. It only shows that you care about yourself and that you care about, banking off of this, and that you're not necessarily concerned in a long-term relationship. I'm concerned in a long-term relationship. I'm concerned in product evolution. I want to see this thing on the shelves. I want to see it get to my Kickstarter backers. So I'm not as interested with this or with any endeavor in making a lot of money up front and then kicking back and sipping on a nice tropical drink. I really want to establish a relationship. So getting money up front is not the number one concern.
I have a question.
Okay.
Why you think your product is better than others?
Why do I think my product is better than others?
Yes.
Because my product is designed for the user. It is designed for today's smartphone user. Okay? You have one of these?
Yes.
Okay. How much do you use it?
I don't use it.
Okay. But let me tell you something.
I tell you.
This is why I asked you how much you use it. That's fine. Let me tell you, you want to know how many people in the United States alone own a smartphone?
Yes, but
150 million people. That's half of the population of the United States owns a smartphone. Now, wait. Just let me go through this for a second. 4 out of 5 of those people spend at least an hour and a half a day multitasking, which means sitting in front of the TV while using this. That's just multitasking. An hour and a half a day on average, sitting in front of the TV, either on this, going like this, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you guys know it because nobody can handle personal interaction anymore because they're always going like this. All right? People want to charge it. They want to keep their phones close. So it's designed for the user. That's why I think it's better than other products.
All these habits are nonsense. Because
I didn't understand that.
Yes, all these habits, all constantly using, you going to different level of communication,
Okay.
Do you
So
understand?
what's do you have a question or is this just a statement?
I'm just reflecting to your comments about how many users use this kind of telephone.
Okay, let me just remind everybody, I'm not getting paid, I'm only here for your benefit, I just want to help you. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions and help you in any way I can. If you just want to, if you just want to talk about it and maybe speculate about the value of the product, I'm happy to do that after.
No,
But
in my
I really, I
opinion-
just don't want to take up everybody
Just take
else's
that
time
offline.
if we're just, if we're just going to talk about,
Yes,
whether or not the product has merit. Is that all right with you?
Yes, thank you, thank you.
The crowdfunding model is, I see it will work very well for consumer products, for business to business, commercial, industrial type developments. Has there been much success using it for that?
That's a very good question. Somebody else asked me something similar to that. They phrased it more along the lines of, I have a product, I'm not really willing to tell you what it is, but this is the industry that it's in, and I think I want to use crowdfunding to raise money. And I never really got exactly what the product was, but I got a general sense of the industry, and it was a business-to-business related product. And I'm guessing that it's going to be a lot more difficult to excite the average person that is on Kickstarter with a business-to-business type product, with a support type product. I think it's really got to be an end-user type product, or it has to really be tied to some sort of movement, something that can either give you the warm fuzzies in your heart, or say, oh man, I really want that, or do both. Yeah.
When you say the long-term commitment in getting it to market, would it be advisable to go the Kickstarter route if you were to take a product after it was patented, okay, and then license it out after you got your money?
Okay. Where are we? I'm going to get to a slide where I talk about that. So let me run through this one real quick, because I've basically said most of this stuff already, but I just kind of want to talk about campaigning real quick. Social media? How many hours a day do you spend doing, just promoting one thing?
One platform,
Yeah.
I could spend all day on one, but if I didn't budget my time.
I think a lot of us here, myself included, are not really aware of the power of social media. I probably look like I'm on the phone all day with it in front of my face. I know nothing about it. I could care less about Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of those. I think it's garbage. But I wouldn't have had a successful project if it weren't for 3 people that were working for me doing things on social media for probably 6 hours a day each.
Really?
So be prepared to either learn about it or spend the money on it if you want to run a successful campaign utilizing crowdfunding. And this is why. You don't need to tell 1 or 2 people or a group. You got to tell a lot of people. There were 47,000 backers on that Coolest campaign. All right? So how many people do you think looked at that and said, hey, that's awesome, but never actually contributed to that project? How many people are here? 50? Are any of you actually going to contribute to it? So let's say that 1 in 50 actually contribute. That's 2%. Okay? 50,000 backers he has almost. So how many people had to know about it in order for you to get 48,000 backers? People who actually take the plunge, sign up, or actually just put their credit card down. It takes a lot to get people to put their money where their mouth is. So you got to get a lot of people to know about your project. Yeah.
I'm going to offer up an idea, because I think it's better if all of you guys use it, and it becomes a more used. The more something is used, the more people see it, the more they believe in it, the more they trust it. There's this thing called Donate Your Account, where you can ask people to go on and donate their social media accounts. And then it becomes, you can use it, and you can blast on their Facebook page up to us. They can choose how many times you can blast. Now that's a good way to have people working for you.
Yeah.
And you can offer, instead of the $1 pledge, just donate your account.
Can you say that again?
DonateYourAccount.com. Sorry.
So,
if
do
you
you
can
mind?
ask people to go on and log in with their Facebook or their Twitter, and
Do you mind
you get
standing up
control.
so everyone can hear you?
then you can control their Facebook posts. And they can say, okay, you can do it once a week, 5 times a week, 20 times a week, that you can post through their social media accounts. Thus, instead of asking people for $1 or $5, you can ask them for their account. It doesn't cost them anything. There's already plenty of people using their account for whichever game they signed up to post. And this way, you can have robots working with you.
What's the method again? You mentioned the website.
DonateYourAccount.com.
Does everyone understand what he's talking about?
I
Okay.
understand that it's powerful, I don't fully.
I'm going to give you just a quick, if I can quickly help you understand what's going on. Okay? When you exist on some sort of social media platform, you have either friends or subscribers or friends, other users that you are connected with. So when you type in a Twitter post, or you post a picture on Instagram, or you write a post or something like that on Facebook, the people who are registered as your friends or your followers or whatever, they get to see it. Okay? And there are a lot of people who are really influential on these platforms, even some people that you know. Okay? So if you know somebody who has a lot of friends or a lot of followers, and they're willing to donate their account, essentially allow you to pass right into their account and put up a post that basically just looks like they're posting it, right? Is that what's going on?
Mike, can I just, if we could hold the question so you could get through the rest of your slides.
It's okay, because there's only
Yeah.
2 left.
Oh, okay, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah, I just skipped through the 4 of
okay.
them, because I think these ones are going to be the 2 most
Still
important.
made that announcement.
So anyway, yeah, did I explain that well enough for everybody?
That's good.
Okay. Sorry? What's the
It's not a
benefit of it?
benefit to them, it's them helping you. It's like the dollar backer, the people who believe in your cause enough to not ask for a product, just to give you $1 so that you succeed. This is instead of $1.
It's all about the spreading awareness. So if you know somebody who has 11,000 or 40,000 followers on Twitter, and you can put a post, a tweet, through their account, it's going to get a lot more views than if you create a Facebook account and just start, making posts, because you got no friends. You got no friends on that social media platform. No offense. But if you haven't created an account, you have no friends. You haven't established that. It takes time to establish